Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You are listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in the Sioux Falls area or the Mighty 790 in Fargo-Moorhead and surrounding community. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agri, Brewer Agri Outdoors. And we are going to do a little hunting talk on this segment. We are going to chat with Sam Tumberg. If you've been listening to our show over the last 4 or 5 months, you've heard Sam talk once or twice. Sam has a company called Purpose-Filled Habitat Management. Sam, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
So hunting seasons are underway for most listeners in our area. I think there might be some South Dakota listeners that the seasons have not yet opened yet. But as people are sitting in their stands or walking through their deer woods, getting ready for the season or in the middle of their season, what kind of things do they need to start thinking about for next year? Because, there's some people that get frustrated about, I'm not seeing my bucks or they're not where I think they should be, so on and so forth. And really, it's now is the time to really start making those plans for next year. What are some things that they should be maybe looking out for?
Well, I'll say that when I'm sitting on the deer stand, my mind is constantly spinning about what I want to do next year. I actually keep a running list on my phone of projects that I got planned for the off season. And a lot of that I think about when I'm sitting on the stand, just kind of watching how the deer are responding to the work I've already done. And I mean, I could go into a multi-hour conversation on this, but if I had to boil it down to just a few things to pay attention to is one, I'd be looking at how the deer are responding to the food sources that you have on the property. Now, I'd want to know if what I planted is attractive to the deer during the actual rifle season. Some mistakes I see guys make is that they plant, let's say, a perennial food plot that was really attractive in September, early October, and then kind of starts to lose palatability. So it's not very attractive by rifle season and the deer are off of it. So they can look at how they want to adjust their food sources for next year so that they actually have deer on them during the rifle season.
Hey, Sam, I got a question for you about that. So aren't those food sources that are palatable earlier in the season, aren't they extremely important too, just to keep the deer on their property?
Yeah, I mean they're important summer food sources generally, because I mean the does need those good, highly nutritious, like perennial plots like clover and things like that early to, when they're lactating and helping their fawns. It's nice that the bucks have those highly nutritious food sources when they're putting inches on their antlers. But just because they're good in the summer, early fall, doesn't mean that they're going to be great in November. So, I mean, ultimately, the best play with food is to have a diverse array of options available so that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket and that basket is empty by the time rifle season hits.
Yeah. Yep. I get that. That makes 100% sense.
Sam, what do you do in terms of coordinating with the local agricultural, production that's on the land? For instance, on our land, it's either soybeans that are planted on our farm or corn in alternating years. Does that make a difference when it comes to what food sources we might plant as a hunter?
Generally not, for me at least. Normally, we have beans and corn on our land as well. And normally those are off by the time like the rut rolls around and rifle season hits. Now this year they're taking the corn off right during the middle of the season. But that doesn't really impact what I want to plant because we want to have food options for them basically 365. So I got, good early season food options. I got food options that I know they're going to hit in the middle of the season, and I got stuff that's going to help them late season and over winter. It is nice if you can get the corn off before rifle season because, hunting over combine corn is one of my favorite setups for the gun season or even late season. The deer I swear they can smell it when the combine's rolling and they're in there right away. And so, I mean, yeah, if they can get off, I prefer that because I want them to be pulling into to my food plot so I have that more predictable movement pattern.
All right, Sam. So I'm sorry I interrupted you earlier, but you were talking about food sources. What about other things besides food sources are very important to be paying attention to right now?
So yeah, the other two I wanted to mention, one of them is just travel patterns. So I'm always watching how the deer are moving throughout the woods or entering the food sources or even entering into those staging areas. And I'm thinking about ways I can manipulate those travel patterns to get them to get closer to wherever I'm set up in my stand. I might, if they don't seem to be comfortable moving out into the food plots, in daylight, I might be thinking about adding screening options just to add some more security and get them comfortable out in those food sources a little bit earlier. I might be thinking about ways I can cut in travel corridors to actually guide that movement right where I need it to be. And then the other one is just cover. I mean, if you're relying on the neighbors, cover on the neighbors to shoot your deer, that can be a tough play because that's just something that's completely outside of your control, right? So if you notice that the deer aren't bedding on you, I'm always thinking about ways that I can get the deer to actually bed on our property, because if they're bedded on our property, I feel like I can set that up that I can actually maybe intercept that good buck, as opposed to relying on, them pouring off the neighbors. And that's just, yeah, that can be a low odds proposition.
So, Sam, I think some people might be a little bit reluctant to do a lot of changing to their lands or to their hunting lands just because it's a daunting task, or they might feel it is.
Hmm.
If nobody has never done anything to manage deer on their land, how long does it take before you can start to see results?
It completely depends on what management tactic. If you're starting from square one, it depends on what you're going to start with. Generally, if I'm on a property and they have nothing, I want to get those good food sources in place right away, because you're going to see an immediate ROI with those food plots. Water sources are another one. I think for years I kind of undervalued the power of a good water source. This year I put a water tank in July, and I shot a buck over it in September. So water sources you can get an immediate return on as well. Your fallow field areas where you're trying to build them up for cover, it can take a little bit longer. If you're using warm season grasses, it might be 3, 4, 5 years before the deer really get comfortable with that and respond to that and bed on those areas. Tree planting, obviously, that's a very long-term play, 10, 15, 20 years. And then as far as the stuff in your timber, it just depends on what type of timber you have. If you are in an area with a lot of aspen, you cut that aspen in 2 years, you can see deer bedding up in that stuff because it comes in so fast. Now, if you're doing some logging and it's a hardwood logging operation, it might take 3, 4, 5 years before you get deer to actually hold up in that new cover, that new regen. And then with hinge cuts, that's where we're cutting like 2/3 of the way through a tree and tipping it over and essentially keeping it alive to create that immediate bedding structure. That you can see results within days. One time I did a hinge cut bedding area and I had a 170-inch buck move into that bedding area, within a few days of that cut. So it fully depends on what you're going to utilize as your habitat management tactic. But yeah, there's certainly things that you can see a return on within that first year of the work that you're doing.
That's amazing. All right, Sam, if people want to find out more, I know you have a pile of videos out there. How can people follow along with all the good work that you do?
Yeah, I'm very active on Facebook and YouTube. So if you look me up on Facebook or YouTube under Purpose-Filled Habitat Management, I'm on those platforms. I also post some stuff on Instagram, but basically I just kind of recycle content onto there just to have a broader reach. But I'm posting daily on Facebook, and I try to post a video every week on YouTube.
Perfect. This is Sam Tumberg. Sam, we really appreciate you coming on Gone Outdoors.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, stick around. We will be back with more hunting talk after the short break. Looking for somewhere to get all your fishing information in one place? Onyx Fish Midwest has something for you. Search for new fishing areas with filtering features such as species, abundance, trophy potential, lake survey info, regulations, and area insights are just a click away.
Getting to your target lake has never been easier with access points and public land ownership clearly marked on OnX Fish. Mark and customize waypoints and weather for your exact location. Use code BA Outdoors to get 20% off OnX Fish Midwest at onxmaps.com.